Okay. Ah. All right. So this is what we have to do. What we have to do is data manipulation language, DML. Now, after completing this lesson, you should be able to do the following. Describe each data manipulation language, DML statement. Insert rows into a table. Update rows in a table. Delete rows from a table. And control transactions. What we've been doing before was select, which was data query. We're just querying data from the database. That is what we've been doing. Now we want to start inserting data. So it's like a tripod. We have the database, we have the database management system, and we have the application. That I explained to you in the beginning. So that is how it works. One leg is putting the data into the database. The other leg is pulling the data out of the database to get informations that are useful to anybody, either management or state or country. So that is basically it. Now, I told you before that you have an application like all these Facebook and all the social media platforms that you are seeing. They create the front end for you in order for you to put in your data. So you take your pictures, you take your videos, you are uploading them. So that is data you are putting in. And then you also go back to pull out those data to, as in, you can put in data, somebody else will access your page and then see those data. So it's a two-way thing, and that is how it works. So all what we've been doing before has to do with data query. We're querying the data from the database. Somebody put those data in there. Now we want to see how we can equally put data in by inserting data, updating data, and deleting data. So that is actually what we want to do. So insert rows into the table, update rows in the table, delete rows from the table. So these are the data manipulation language, as in the few ones that we are going to work with. So the first one is insert, the second one is update, and then delete. This is the syntax for insert. Add new rows to a table by using the insert statement. Now this is the syntax. Insert into, then the table name. So just like we have employees table. So insert into employees. Then you are going to state all the columns that are in that employee tables. Then you will now state this value clause. Value. So you will now start inserting the value into it. That is what this syntax is telling you. So with this syntax, only one row is inserted at a time. So you can write as much of this syntax as possible to insert many rows, or you can simply just create this column in Excel, like that employee table. You can create the employee table column in Excel and then fill in everybody and upload. That is a way that you can just at one time upload everybody. But when you want to insert just one person at a time, this is the syntax you are going to use. So that is what we are going to look at today. All right, so this is what we have. Now, I'm going to simply write select star from employees. I will terminate that. Select star from department. I'll terminate that. So if you look at this department table, let's just, before we insert something, let's take it, this department table. Now, this is data query language. You are just querying data from the database. So now I say select. Now it's showing me the department table. Now when I scroll down, I have 27 departments, right? That's what I have. Now I want to insert one more department. Are you with me? So I want to insert a department now into this. So I will simply say insert into. That is it. So insert into, then I will call this department name, the table, insert into department. Then I will now open this parenthesis, open and close parenthesis. What I want to state now is all these department columns is what I want to type inside. So I'm saying department, underscore ID, comma, department underscore name, comma, manager underscore ID, comma, then location underscore ID. So these are the columns. So I'm stating the columns of the department. Now I will now come here and type my value clause. So this is the values clause that I have typed now. Then I am now going to supply my value. So I open and close parentheses. I'm going to supply value for each of these columns. So department ID, now I have, this is the department ID. The last one is 270. So I'm just going to add 271. So I will say 271, 271, comma. So that is the data that I want to supply into that column. Department name, let's just give it a public relation. Public relation. Now, because it is a character data type, so I have to put it in a single quote. The number data type, which is that, the first one, I didn't put that one in single quote. So this one, public relation, that is the department name, comma. So I'm just going to supply it the way it is. Then manager ID, so I give it 100, comma. Then I have location ID. So I have to pick one of these locations. So where is this public relation? I want it to be in the same place where you have all these government sales and the rest. So 1,700. So I can just say 1,700. So that is where that department will be. Now I am going to terminate. So I have how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm supplying how many data? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is it. Now insert into department. Then I state the column. And then, so these are two clauses. Insert into clause and then the value clause. I'm going to execute this. So I'm going to execute statement. Now it is executed. Are you with me? So once I execute it, it's executed, then I can commit. This is my commit. So I'm just going to click on this commit. So it's done. Now let's query this, select star from department again. Where department underscore ID equals to 271. So this is it. Are you with me? So let me run that again. So if you scroll down, you see that I did not see it. It's not showing here. Why? Because of this null. I gave it a value. Look at it. Public relation. Can you see that? Are you with me, sir? Hello? Okay. So I have added another department, which is what? I added another department, which is what? Public relation. And this is the department. This was how I did it. So, but if I don't want to state this column here like this, if I don't want to state them, I can remove them. And I will just say insert into department values. But I must know my values how it is. It means that I'm going to supply all the columns and I must arrange them the way it is. So I can decide now that I want to introduce a null value instead of this giving a value to this particular department that I want to create now does not have manager. So I'm just going to type here null. Now I'm going to insert another department. We don't have customer care, so let's add customer care. So customer care. Now they don't have manager. Now I'm just going to execute this. So it is created. So I commit it. Now when I query this again, you scroll down. Look at it. It's already there. 272. To 271, public relation. 272, customer care. And they don't have manager, so it's null. And the location is still 1,700. When we go to the location table, we will know which location is this one. So you can see I've inserted um, two additional rows to the table. Can you see that? So the first one I did was I inserted by stating all the column names for the department, and then I arranged my values according to them. Now, I inserted again by not stating the column names, but I have to insert my values exactly how it is. So I will have queried the table to know all the data that are there, and then to also know the data type that each of these column will take in order for me to be able to define my values without stating the column names. Then I also introduce a null value to a particular column, which that is what I have done. Now I'm now also going to insert special characters, that is special values. I mean, for example, I taught you date functions, and in date functions you have a sys date. So I'm going to introduce sys date. I'm going to insert an employee, and then I'm going to call a function to now insert a date into the employee date. So assuming I have an employee today. So I'm going to insert today's date. And to do that, I'm going to call a function to do that. So that is what? Inserting special values. So let's do that. Now I want to insert into the employee table. So let me click on this. So these are the employee columns. So the first thing I'm going to do, I can use this second method where I will just state the department and then begin to define the values without stating the column names. But let's state the column names too. So I can say insert, let's use cap lock so that it will look fine. You can also do it in lowercase. Insert into, then employees. So I'll just open and close my parentheses, then I'll come inside the parentheses to type. So I'm going to type all these columns. Employee underscore ID, comma, then department underscore ID. So those are the columns that I've stated. Then I will now come here and then supply my values, right? And then open and close the parentheses. So I'm going to terminate, then start to fill up the inside. So here now, I am going to, how many employees do we have? Let me scroll down. So 206. So I'm going to insert the 207 employee. So employee ID 207, comma, first name. So first name, I will just type Joseph. Now, then, because it is, so I'll put it in single quote because it's a character value. The data type is character. So Joseph Okon. That one too, I will also put it. So you can see I'm supplying first name, last name, then email. You see the pattern the email is. The email is, what do you call it? The first letter of the first name and then the last name. So J Okon. So that is how that is. And then you also have to put in single quote. Then the next one is email, phone number. So phone number. So I'm just going to supply a phone number following this pattern that they have here. So I'll just say, and 515.127. Let's just follow that pattern. Dot 4561. And because of the dot that you are seeing, this is character. If you look at this phone number, if you come here, open table, if you look at employees and you click columns. Look at that phone number. The phone number, you can see phone number is variable character. Can you see data type for the phone number is varchar? So this one is character. So you have to put it in single quote. You have to put it in single quote, otherwise it throw you error. Then what is the next thing we have done? Now, higher date. This is what I'm saying. Because in this one now, I'm doing inserting special values. So this higher date, I'm not going to define the date. Since I want the employees is today, so I'll just say sys date. So I'm calling a function to now insert today's date into it. Then the department ID, let's give it 110, 110. So this is it. This is the query that you have written to insert Joseph as an employee into the employee table. So I'm going to execute it. So it's done, and then I'm just going to commit. Then I'm now going to run my employee table. So here I can say select start from employees, where first name, first underscore name equals, then you put it Joseph. All right. So look at, it's there. Now, if I don't want to do that, I want to run the entire employee table. Select this. So look at this. Look at Joseph, and you can see what happened. That is putting it the way I typed it, as in cap lock, whereas the others is first letter uppercase, and then the rest are lowercase. Now let's look at the date. Look at the date it inserted. 28 September 2023. So that is the date. This is date is going to take the system date. That is it. System date is a function that I called to supply the date. Now, if it was another day, I could still call this function, and then using the date function method, I can write it in here to give me that particular day if I don't want to type in the date. So that is how to use special values. That is just what I wanted to show you using this is date. So I can also write a script. I can write a script to always prompt me anytime I want to enter data, instead of me typing it this way. So if I'm going to do that, let's just use this insert this department table to do that. So all I need to do is I will come here, and I'm going to write a script that will always prompt me instead of me, and I will be entering the value. So this is department table. So this department table, department ID, department name, manager ID, location. Okay, so I'm going to write a script. Now, to write a script that will always prompt me, I have to use the ampersand. I taught you that in one of the classes. So I have to use the ampersand to be able to insert values anytime I execute this script. Now, I'm going to use the ampersand, which is this. So for department ID, then I will type department underscore ID, comma. Because department name is character, I'll put it in single quote. Then I'll put my ampersand. Department underscore name. Then I have comma. Then I'll put ampersand again. Manager underscore ID. Then the last one is ampersand location underscore ID. Okay, so this is it. This is a script that I've written. Now, anytime I execute this script, it's going to prompt me to supply value. So I don't have to be typing all these values like this again. So I'm just going to execute this. So it's asking me for the first value, for the first value that I want to supply. So department ID. Now the last department was 272. So now this one will be 273. Then I click OK. It's going to ask me for the department name. Clinic. So we supply clinic. Then when I click OK, it's going to ask me for the manager ID. So it's asking me for the manager ID. Let me put 200. And then I click OK. It's asking me for the location ID. I'm going to put 17. So I click OK. So the department has been created. Then I'm just going to commit. Now let's query. Let's look for our department. Where department ID is 273. So this is it, 273 clinic. Now if I run without using the where clause, now look at it, 273 clinic. And the manager is 200, which if you go to the employee table, you'll be able to insert. So anytime I run this again, now if I want to insert another one now, I won't have to type anything. I will just click on this. It will prompt me again. Department ID 274. I click OK. What is now this department? Let's say news. Okay. Then ask me for the manager. Let's put 201. I click OK. They're asking me for the location. Let's put 224. So I click OK. Department is created. Now, if I look for it, 274, and I execute. So look at the department. So that is how you can insert data into the database. That is what I want to show you today.